Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from What Culture.
And I'm Andy Murray from What Culture, and the H stands for hypnotist.
It's time for another wacky news update from the boys.
Oh, we're bringing that back. Oh, good. I like it. Well, we've got shocking original plans for Money in the Bank.
We have a big Double or Nothing update for Hangman Page.
We've got the thing that I've forgotten about already.
It would be Smackdown house shows.
Smackdown house shows cancelled for the third time in 4 weeks.
What a bunch of silly sausages. Anyway, it's the news.
This is the news.
We are the news. It's news time.
Be the news.
And you better get your bullets ready, everybody, because it's shoot season. Pew, 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 pew. Ricochet, 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 ricochet. Kind of. What's happened here is that TJ Perkins, a former WWE Cruiserweight Champion, the Cruiserweight Classic winner in 2016, of course, the guy who was originally set up to be the face of that whole brand, 205 Live, and then just kind of totally fell off the radar due to lackluster creative, among other things. He has given an interview with Sportskeeda, that reputable source, in which he has spoken openly and candidly on his time in the company and has criticised them pretty hard. So basically, he describes a miserable time he had in WWE. He claimed that while Triple H and Vince McMahon were always kind and fair to him, dealing with 205 Live's producers and creative department made him fall out of love with wrestling for the first time in 20 years. He then went on to criticise their lack of administrative transparency in the company, their constant micromanagement, their army of fall guys that they have to absorb everything, and the way people play favourites and are manipulative. So, really quite strong stuff there from a guy who was pitched for big things after that Cruiserweight Classic, really fell off the radar quite badly through no fault of his own. He's a very talented guy. No real surprise, I guess. He's always been quite an outspoken guy, Mr. Perkins. What do you make of all this?
It's interesting, this one, because first of all, him actually saying that Vince and Triple H were sound with him is probably the opposite of what you'd imagine one of his problems would have been. Most people, when they leave, tend to say they found it difficult working with Vince, or they found creative frustrating, or whatever it is. That is something I've never thought about, is the backstage producers of 205 Live being the thing that could be a problem. And I think with a lot of, this is actually quite interesting to hear someone say it, because a lot of people, the talent, we assume they're making good money and we assume that they're doing all right, but the actual day-to-day of the road life that they live and what they have to actually do, the expenditures are quite big. And I remember him saying specifically, like, even though wage was fairly good, by the time you've actually got the rental cars and you've got your accommodations and all that kind of thing, it all adds up very quickly. And that sounds like something that's frustrated people, specifically non-main roster talent.
Yeah, 100%. Obviously, TJP has returned to the indie circuit. He's been teasing all in, Double or Nothing, because of course he has. It's the biggest thing going on outside WWE at the moment. He's claimed that he's already making more money than he was in WWE, so good for him. It just sounds like WWE wasn't a good fit for him and how he likes to operate. He went on to describe like how referees were taking control of his matches and he wasn't allowed to plan his own stuff out. It's very tightly produced, obviously, WWE. Good for him for thriving. He's probably shed some light on thoughts that are probably shared by a lot of people on 205 Live. So good to see him moving on.
We've got backstage news on WWE and their plans that happened before Money in the Bank. Now, Mustafa Ali is a guy who we all kind of really enjoy in WWE, and allegedly he was one of the only people to know what was actually going to happen at Money in the Bank when it did. So initially, all of the guys were told that an 8th entrant was going to be coming to the match, but they didn't specify who it was going to be. So everyone else in the match, apart from Mustafa Ali, was told that information. And up until that point, Mustafa Ali, before this information was passed out to whoever, Mustafa Ali was potentially going to be winning it, and Drew McIntyre was also another name who could potentially have won the match. Two people who you would have expected, I think, amongst most of the people in that match. However, plans were changed, and the only person, as we said, was Ali, who knew that Brock Lesnar was going to be coming in at the death. That's very interesting to hear, because all the guys in that match are standing there thinking someone's coming in at number 8, probably assuming that the idea was going to be Braun. And then big bad Brock rocks up and decides to just wander his way into the match.
Smash everyone, yeah, it's really interesting stuff, actually. Vince McMahon has worked basically everyone on the roster there. Because the only person, like you just said there, Mr. Inglis, that he told was going to be Brock was Ali, who was originally pegged as the winner. It's a really, really interesting story, this, and I imagine that the internet will have a field day with it, because Ali is something of an internet favourite. Brock Lesnar is the most divisive wrestler in the world. We can argue to the cows come home. Is that the right phrase? The cats come home? It's not the cats.
The cows.
Let's go with cows.
The cats. The cat. Meow.
We can argue as to whether or not they should have made a new star by crowning someone like Ali,
Yep.
or whether Brock as an established star was the right choice. Doesn't matter. That's all subjective. What's most exciting about this is that Vince has gone a long way to keep a secret here. He has told literally one person. As Meltzer wrote in The Observer this week, they were conditioned into believing it would be Strowman coming down.
Exactly.
That must have been that shock that registered on the faces of the wrestlers when Brock came out. That was real.
And that is what I like the most about this. I would like to see more of it, where the talent are, because they're obviously in the know to a certain extent. I would like to see more of it, because them expressions, them reactions, you literally can't fake them. When you get those real ones, imagine how sick some of them must have been when they put their bodies through all of that for the match.
Finn Balor.
Yeah, Finn Balor, literally, the amount of bumps he took.
Bumps.
And then Brock just wanders in. And also, it just worked perfectly for Brock, because that is the character. He wanders out whenever he wants, and he takes whatever he wants. Worked out perfectly for me. More of that, please, Vince.
Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
We're going to move on to Money in the Bank. No, we're not. We're going to move on to Double or Nothing.
We're going to move back to Money in the Bank.
Back to Money in the Bank. Money in the All-In. We have an update from Mr. Hangman Page on this latest episode of Being the Elite. He shot a skit in which he was lying down, he had his knee all iced up, and he claimed that he's not being allowed to compete or appear at Double or Nothing in Vegas this weekend owing to an injury. Now, he was of course originally supposed to wrestle Pac. That was cancelled. The match ended up going down in England this past weekend. It finished in a disqualification. That cheeky scamp Pac kicked the referee right in his baby maker. It was a DQ, and afterwards he destroyed Hangman's knee. So they were going with an injury angle for that, and now they're trying to spin the idea that Page isn't going to be there. Obviously, it's kayfabe, so he probably
Jesus
is going
Christ,
to be
we
there.
hope it's kayfabe. Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
Just not there.
Absolute scene.
Injured. Yeah.
So this opens the door for a number of possibilities. Maybe he'll show up in the Casino Battle Royale. Maybe he'll face a mystery opponent, as had already been teased. Either way, good on them for adding another layer of kayfabe intrigue.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, it's nice to see them sort of committing to these early on, and the guys there, they're all creative, as we've seen on the episodes of Being the Elite, as we've seen in all the other stuff that they do. So it's nice to see that they're going to actually, not just, because the one thing I was worried about is that they just kind of try to not get rid of kayfabe, but just accept that it doesn't exist anymore and try to create a product maybe that operates outside of that. But I'm not sure you can. I don't think that's ever really an opportunity that you can do. So it's good to see that they're sticking with this. God, I hope, imagine just if for some reason Adam Page just isn't on that card. Surprise everybody. Yeah, she's not there.
New star that we're probably going to build our product around for 3 or 4 years. Gone.
So if it was up to you, if I was asking you right now, would you rather have Page in the Battle Royal, or would you rather have him have a big singles match?
Big singles match.
Yeah.
That way we can have 2 surprises. We can have a big surprise winner in the Battle Royal, and we can have a big surprise opponent for Page, whoever
Rather
that
than
may be.
lose 2 in 1 kind of thing.
Give me 2 I like surprises, man. I like wrestling that keeps me guessing.
Yeah.
I believe Paige will be on the show, but I have no idea how this thing's going to pan out, which makes it really exciting.
Yeah, and it's all you want is the unknown when it comes to wrestling, something that's going to keep you on your toes. And speaking of being kept on your toes, anybody who's been trying to go to a Smackdown house show recently has been having a bit of a difficult time, I think it's fair to say.
Those Monday night house shows aren't working out.
They are not working out, because obviously we've got the wildcard rule that's in place. WWE need their superstars on whichever show they demand them on a certain night. And as a result, we've seen 3 of the last 4 weeks of SmackDown house shows that have had to be rescheduled due to Monday night's sort of restrictions and people who had to go to Raw, etc. So the most recent one that will be happening, or was meant to be happening, on May 27th, has been rearranged to October. Andy Murray, this is going to be a continued problem with this wildcard rule, and surely fans are not going to be buying those tickets for house shows anymore, surely.
I mean, this has led to speculation that Monday night SmackDown house shows will be cancelled entirely, and I can see it. It might be the best idea, because if you're hosting Raw under this silly wildcard rule, you need Roman Reigns and all these other dudes. You need them for Raw, because that is the flagship show.
Absolutely.
That, in WWE's eyes, is more important than a random house show. So I can see why they're doing this, but it's really screwing over people who are buying tickets for these shows. Now, a couple of them have been rescheduled, but not until October, Saturday nights in October, I believe. Long time away. Who knows if you're going to be able to make that after making plans for the house show on a Monday. And it's on such short notice as well. This one has been cancelled on 3 days. That's ridiculous.
People have booked travel. People might well have to go long or short distances, man.
Like, WWE have offered tickets for the replacement event, and they've said contact the point of sale if you want a refund. But like, it's just really bad business. It's really bad PR, guys. Sort this crap out.
But it's
please.
interesting that this is another impact, presumably, of all the things all the demands that are being claimed from like the USA and Fox networks for the future and for the current product. That's baffling to me, because Vince McMahon probably loves operating in a sort of environment where he has the final say. And he's now got his hands tied. Yes, obviously, when they made the company public, that did change a little bit. But this is an added layer to that is only going to surely upset him more.
Yeah, and I can't see his live event business doing well.
No.
After what you said there, they had another decline in the latest set of financial results. Man, they really need to get their word together.
The importance of the house show, just before we move on, would you still say that's a hugely important bit of financial income for them by comparison to the TV stuff? Or?
It's certainly waning. I think, and don't quote me on this because I don't have the numbers in front of me, I think they actually maybe have started making a loss on these things.
Interesting.
Which isn't good. Either that or revenue's declining. It's becoming a less important part of their revenue stream because obviously less people are going, which means they'll make less money of it. Merchandise sold at these events is also declining, so they're not in a great spot at the moment, but really Vince has always described it as kind of like the bread and butter of his business.
Yeah, well, that's kind of what it was built on, wasn't it, initially? So it's interesting to see how the shift has changed with that.
It's a big switch. Let's see how it pans out. We're going to move on now. We're going to have a look. Yesterday, if you recall, we reported a story stating that networks, USA in particular, had been pitching a number of wacky ideas to WWE to try and fix the ratings problems. We asked you, the comment section, to come up with your best ideas, and we promised that we would mention a couple on today's show.
And a Lannister or a Murray always pays his debts.
Hey, there we go.
Bit of banter for everybody who's sick and tired of Game of Thrones. Anyway,
tell us about that.
Tell us about that. We can't wait. Yeah.
So there were a bunch of ones in the comment section saying, "How about writing a good show? Hey Vince, how about pushing the right wrestlers? Pushing all that kind of stuff." But a couple of banter ones here that I like. So this is from Brett Storm XWP, who may or may not be an e-wrestling character. Says, right. So my guess on USA Network's idea is to bring back the greatest Royal Rumble legend. What Culture Office favourite, Hiroki Sumi.
Oh, yes. Sold. Put him on the sheet.
Me and Michael Hamlet pissed ourselves when he came out.
What a weird thing that was.
Hope he's back for Super... What did I call Super Showdown earlier?
I don't know, but let's hope he's a double or nothing.
Yay!
In the Rumble or something.
And another one here from Chainsmoke Records. Everyone is going to wear a conquistador costume.
Right. Now, that is a change that I personally would be 100% on board with.
Si, senor.
Yeah. That shouldn't have got the pop that it got.
Well, it got the pop show. Let's move on to Twitter Q&A.
You give me so much stick for this yesterday,
yes,
and now here you are doing
it. It's very addictive.
It's
like
very addictive, yes.
I also like the good cheese.
Yes,
anyway.
good.
First question comes from Jason Prata. I think that the Monday Night Raw commentary team is possibly the worst of all time.
Wow.
Do you think that they are a reason for poor ratings?
Wow. Worst of all time is strong. That is strong.
They are garbage.
They aren't great. Yeah. And I've recently noticed Renee Young, who I was possibly given the benefit of the doubt, I feel like she has took a hard... And that's hard to say because I really like Renee Young, which is a shame.
She's a great broadcaster.
Yeah, she is a great broadcaster, exceptional. But, I don't know. Is it responsible for... I wouldn't personally not watch the product because of super bad commentary. I could just turn the commentary off.
I think some people would.
I can understand why. Like I've tried to watch some New Japan stuff, and if I don't really like the commentators, the English commentators who are on there, I find that quite jarring. So I do understand that to a certain extent.
Yeah, I get it. I think probably it's more part of a larger problem with the presentation as a whole. The commentary certainly feeds into that.
Yeah.
Like I cut these guys a lot of slack because they've got this crazy billionaire in their ear telling them word by word, shouting at them the whole show. Michael Cole is a talented guy. Corey Graves is a talented guy. Renee Young is extremely talented. They're all very good at their job. They're just being told to do it in a really destructive and awful way. It's terrible. It's awful to listen to. And I think it might be turning some people.
And I think also another perfect example of that, did you see that Dasha Fuentes who left WWE?
Yes.
She was obviously constantly being given criticism for being robotic. Someone just did an interview with her outside of WWE, and the presence and the way she was able to present was ridiculous. It tells you how much they obviously must put them in a box and make them do these things. So Yeah, it's frustrating.
It's really telling and really annoying. So another question here from Ahmed Matter, friend of the channel. A question for the news video tomorrow. When do you think Brock Lesnar will cash in his briefcase, and who do you think he will cash in on, and should he become champion again? I've got a really quick one for that. Seth Rollins, Super Showdown, no.
Seth Rollins, Super Showdown, no.
There we go.
Happy
Doesn't
days.
really need any more
Moving
on. Than that. And our final question for today, fellow friend of the channel, Angela Dawn, asks, since Adam Wilborn is so convinced that Dean Ambrose leaving WWE is a work, what should Andy H. Murray and Adam Nicholas have him do if Jon Moxley shows up at Double or Nothing?
Oh, that is interesting.
I'm going to throw the bugger in the river Tyne.
Yep. Well, that sounds like, I mean, that might be a two-man job because he's quite tall.
He's a big lad.
Carry. What are we going to do? That's a good question. I tell you what, we should put a pin in this because I think we should come up with a justifiably bad thing that he has to do. Because these people want to see that. Do you want to see that? Yes, you bloody do. Let us know in the comments because you definitely want to see that. Maybe we do have a high stakes. High stakes. We'll put ourselves on the line.
Yo, let's do it. Let's say we're going to do your best suggestion to Adam Wilborn, guaranteed on Tuesday's news
guaranteed.
video.
He's just guaranteed
We're
it in the
guaranteeing
video.
it, brother.
Oh,
Note that this is not a guarantee. But we're going to do it on Tuesday's news video.
Not guaranteed.
We are off on Monday. We're not here. There won't be a news video on Monday. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll pick your best one.
Interesting.
So, and finally,
what have we done?
Did you know, Adam Nicholas?
Come on then.
Starcast is obviously going on over the next few
it
days.
is.
Our boys, Adam Wilborn, Adam Cleary, and Phil Chambers are there. Check them out if you're in Las Vegas.
Absolutely.
Did you know that the AJ Styles was appearing at Starcast?
Oh, here we go.
I've got photographic proof. Here he is.
Jesus Christ.
There he is. The phenomenal one has checked in. Thank you very much to Reddit user
the
Laser
real belt
GWF.
smoker.
This is obviously Hornswoggle, by the way.
That is the absolute...
It's ridiculous.
It's everything down to the jeans, the t-shirt, the hair,
the beard. The cut of the jeans.
Yeah,
even,
that's what I mean. The flare cut.
Yeah.
Flare.
Shout outs to AJ Styles.
Incredible.
I don't know how WWE were convinced to let him appear there, but they clearly have.
Yeah.
Vince McMahon is a benevolent employer.
I guess you could say that Starcast is now going to be...
phenomenal.
There he is.
Yeah.
You got it.
I'm going to smoke that belt.
I'm going to smoke that
Anyway,
belt.
it's time for us to wrap this up.
It
Smoke
is.
some belts of our own. Blah, 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 usual spiel. Find us at What Culture WWE. Send us your questions. We will possibly be back on Saturday, as we are in for the live stream.
Yes.
If there's some news, we will pop it off. Check us out during the Double or Nothing live stream. We will be live on YouTube from midnight UK time. I believe that is 7 p.m. Eastern. I have no idea about other time zones. I cannot figure those out. Anyway, you can follow the great man at
It's Adam Nicholas. You can follow the other great man
at Andy H. Murray. The H stands for hooray!
Yes, it does.
Yes, it does.
Hooray! It's a weekend of wrestling.
Send us all your banter. Enjoy Double or Nothing. Get in touch, and we will see you soon.
Have
Somebody
a
else used to say that.
lovely weekend, and we'll see you all soon.